Welcome, loves. We are in a new year, and there is so much talk all over social media, all over different pages from coaches and wellness experts about making this a year to really heal, making 2022 a year to have better relationships, to be a better person in a relationship, and to attract better relationships. Unfortunately, I feel like there's so much talk about the need to have better relationships, but not enough talk about actually how to get there and why a lot of the things that we tend to do when we're on this journey of attracting better relationships doesn't work. So, with that in mind, I wanted to talk to you about how we actually heal and the biggest mistake that most people make, which is trying to outsource their healing. So, when I talk about outsourcing healing, what I'm talking about is this idea of trying to get closure and healing from other people. Most of the women that work with me, when they come to me, it's not just that they're having issues with dating. They are also having issues with some of their family relationships, issues with friends, not treating them the way that they want to be treated, or friendships that are not reciprocal. They feel like they're putting a lot of effort into these friendships or into improving relationships with family members, and they're not getting that back in return. And this isn't a surprise. All relationships are related. So if you show me a woman who is dealing with struggles with dating, then I know for a fact that she's dealing with struggles with her family members, with her friends, with her coworkers, because it's all the same. If you have a problem with setting boundaries with your romantic partners, you have a problem with setting romantic boundaries with other people. If you people please when it comes to your romantic relationships, you most likely people please with other people as well. They're all related. And oftentimes, the first thing that my clients and I do when we work together is not the whole dating strategy and getting out there and finding a great partner, which of course that's the end goal, but oftentimes it has to start with healing from these past relationships first, whether they were past relationships with romantic partners or past relation or current relationships with family members and friends that have different things in the past that were never resolved. Because until you heal, you will not be able to sustain a healthy relationship. And I want to be clear with that because oftentimes you'll see people say things, especially on social media, that are along the lines of, you can't attract a healthy relationship. You can't attract great people until you're healed. And it's not exactly true. Look, even a healed woman will attract unhealthy men. If you are a woman, period, you will attract all kinds. So it's not what you attract, but it's the fact that if you are unhealed and you attract someone who is healthy, they're not going to want to stay in a relationship that's unhealthy. And if you are healed and you attract someone who is unhealthy, you're not going to want to stay. On the other hand, when you haven't healed, you will attract unhealthy partners, you will attract healthy partners, but unhealthy people tend to stay in relationships with unhealthy partners. It's not a matter of what you're attracting, it's a matter of what you tolerate, what you allow yourself to continue being in. And it takes a certain level of healing to get to the point where you realize that you truly deserve more, that you should expect more, that you should be in a relationship with someone who gives you more than just the bare minimum. So when we talk about finding closure from these unhealthy relationships that you've had in the past, the thing that you have to recognize is that closure always comes from within. It will never come from the other person. And I don't mean that as in don't expect the other person to ever apologize or things like that. But here's what I mean. Oftentimes I have clients who have issues with unhealthy relationships with their parents. You know, the boundaries between parent and child aren't that great, or the parents have done things that they've never apologized for and may never apologize for. And too often, what I see is women who are waiting for this one day when people in their lives will suddenly wake up and realize that they treated this person wrongly. They will apologize. And not only will they apologize verbally, but they will give a real apology in the form of changed behavior. Here's why that's not as likely to happen. As much as we love the people who God put in our lives, as much as we love our parents, as much as we love siblings, but particularly in this case, parents, your parents handled being a parent and raising you to the best of the ability that they had. So maybe their parents weren't available. Um, Maybe they grew up in an environment that was toxic and unhealthy, and that's really all they know how to be is toxic and unhealthy. This isn't a matter of bashing them or, saying they're bad people, but if they themselves have not gone on a journey to heal from the things that they went through, if they haven't gone on a process of learning how to be better communicators, of learning how to establish healthy boundaries and to respect boundaries from other people, you can do all the healing work that you want, but they may never heal in the way that you have. And because of that, they could even apologize and they could even feel remorse, but the whole change behavior aspect may never come. And, if those things do happen, if you have parents who are serious about healing, if you have parents who are serious about learning how to forgive, if you have parents who are serious about learning how to respect your boundaries and have a healthy relationship with you and healthy communication as an adult and to not continue to see you as a child, that's great. But the fact is that whether or not that happens, you have to learn how to be good on your own. Because if they never change, you still have to heal your heart. You still have to be a better person for yourself. You still have to learn healthy communication so that you can go forward and create great relationships in the future. If you're interested in having children of your own, or if you already have children, you have to heal so that you don't become that same stumbling block to your children. And even if they do the work and they heal, that doesn't mean that it's going to automatically be healing for you if you haven't been working on yourself. They could change, they could become better, they could, work on learning to respect you more. And if you still have these wounds that you won't address, that you won't do the work to get closure on, that you won't heal from, then you'll continue to still hold grudges against them. You'll continue to still be suspicious of other people who come into your life, especially if there's something about other people coming into your life that reminds you of a trait of your parents. So it takes healing definitely from your side. It's great if there's also healing from their side as well, but you have to learn that you must be whole on your own before you can even really think about gaining better relationships with the people in your life who've mistreated you. And this goes not only for parents, but it goes for friends and romantic partners as well. Because, as I mentioned earlier, if your parents are products of their parents and the way they were raised in their environments, so are the people around you. So you can love a friend of yours to death. You could have a lot of heart still for a former romantic partner. You ended the relationship because you realized that it wasn't healthy, but you still care about them. But they are also products of their environment. So just the fact that you left may not be the wake up call that inspires them to grow and to heal and to try to have a better relationship with you. Just the fact that you threatened to leave is not going to do that either. This is why ultimatums don't work. You tell somebody that if they can't treat you a certain way, that you're going to leave and then you leave and they decide that they want to improve themselves for a time, they can come back, they can be better for a certain amount of time, and then they can end up going back to those exact same habits because they never healed. They learned how to behave a little better for a short period of time in order to get what they wanted, which was a relationship with you, but they haven't truly made the changes that they need to make in order to really have right relationship with you. So, understanding that again, you have to get this closure for yourself, from yourself, and knowing that once you have that, then you can deal with discerning whether or not someone else has made the progress that they need to have a relationship with you again. Then you can make the decision of who you want in your life and what level of access they deserve to your life. Sometimes you won't completely let someone go out of your life, but you may decide that their level of access was too high. You may decide that now is the time for them to not be as close to you. You don't spend as much time with them. You don't talk to them about certain subjects. You set higher boundaries when it comes to your relationship with them. But again, it starts with that process of closure from within before you can even deal with those relationships that were in the past or that continue to cause you problems and continue to be unhealthy. The other thing that you have to understand when it comes to healing is the title of this discussion that we're having, and that is that you can't outsource your healing. One of the other mistakes that I see women make, and again, the first one is trying to get closure from other people, is trying to get healing from coaches and therapists. And don't get me wrong, because I'm a coach myself. And I love to do everything that I can to facilitate healing and to help a woman find closure, to help a woman move on and move forward into better relationships. But the key word in what I just said is facilitate. I cannot heal for you. I cannot do the work for you. What I can do as a coach, what a therapist can do, what a counselor can do is we can facilitate it. We can help you ask yourself better questions. We can help you figure out what your boundaries are, what your standards are, what's the minimum that you need to have a good relationship with someone. We can help you figure out what your deal breakers are. We can help you learn how to lean into your intuition and your discernment, learn how to see those red flags, learn how to avoid unhealthy relationships in the future. We can help you practice conversations with people that you need to have conversations with. There's a lot that a coach can do, there's a lot that a therapist can do, but what we can't do is heal for you. When you make this when you make the decision that you really and truly want to heal, that you are really and truly ready to let go of the things that have weighed you back in the past, to let go of that bondage and find freedom in healthy relationships, it means that you are making a commitment to do the work. It means that you are making a commitment to do the work 24/7, not just your hour-long session every week with your coach or your therapist. You will be doing work outside of that as well. Oftentimes, that's why therapists and coaches give homework to help you facilitate that work. It is also understanding that growth is a lifelong process, and that even as you are healing and forming better attachments and creating better relationships, there's still going to be times when you are triggered. There are still going to be times where someone tries you and maybe you fall for it. Maybe you fall back into previous habits. It's understanding that that doesn't make you a terrible person, that doesn't make you a stupid person, any of that. It just means that this is something you have to continue to work on. Once you acknowledge that this is going to be work and you're willing to do the work, life gets so much easier from there. The third thing that I want to talk to you about is the how. So, again, you can't get closure and healing from your parents. You can't get closure and healing from your friends. You can't get closure and healing from your current romantic partner or your previous romantic partners. You also can't have someone like a coach or a therapist do the work for you. They can do the work with you, but not for you. So you have to be prepared to do this work yourself. How that looks is understanding a couple of things. One, understanding what I just said, it has to come from you. Two, understanding whether or not you need help. You may feel like you can do this on your own with the right books and the podcast and all of that. You may feel like you need the accountability, that you need someone to help you facilitate this, that because the roots are deep or these are patterns that you've been stuck in for years or decades, that you need the correct sounding board, that you need someone who is going to really hold that mirror in front of you and help you see the blocks that you're having. That's where coaches and therapists come in. So it's understanding that you have to do this work yourself. It's understanding whether or not you need help as you do this work yourself. And it is also a willingness to let go. It's a willingness to be in a place where you are ready to forgive others, not just that you're ready to move forward and that you're ready to have better relationships, but that you're also really, truly ready to forgive and move on and understand that, the people that you've dealt with in the past are flawed. And because they're not perfect, there's always going to be some way in which they disappoint. You can still love them and you can, again, decide what level of access they have to you. But if you're not willing to forgive them, then it makes it incredibly difficult to move on and to have healthy relationships in the future. Because without that forgiveness, you will still manage to continually be triggered by things that happen in your past. The other thing that you need to know when it comes to moving forward is back to this idea that closure comes from you and you have to give it to yourself. What that means is you are going to have to give yourself the things that you need. Again, you don't get closure from going and asking the people in your past for that closure. You also don't get closure from going into new relationships and expecting those people to give you the things that you need. As you grow in a healthy relationship with someone, that person will meet some of your needs. Um, but that person won't meet all of them. One person's not meant to be all things to everyone. That's why, in addition to romantic relationships, we have friends and we have family. We have our relationship with God. We have community relationships, coworkers, fellow volunteers, that type of thing. Because one person's not meant to be everything to everyone. That's why you have to give things to yourself first so that you can go into relationships not putting those expectations on others. And also so that you can go into relationships and not have this feeling of desperation, which is unattractive. And it's also putting an undue and unfair burden on another person. So when you are trying to heal from these past relationships and move forward, I want you to take the time to think and journal out, what is it that you needed from people in the past that you did not give or that you did not get. And once you think about those things that you did not get, the next step is to take the time and look at ways in which you can give those to yourself. So you were in a past relationship and you felt like he wasn't romantic enough. You wanted him to give you flowers more often. Buy yourself flowers. Buy them for yourself, put them around your house, and enjoy them. Deeper things, you felt like you weren't listened to, you felt like you weren't heard. Then take the time and listen to yourself. Sit in silence, meditate, you know, allow your thoughts to come to you and really listen to them and pay attention to them. Also, if there are specific ages where you felt unheard, write a letter to write a letter to you now from that perspective. Write about when you were that age, the things that you were going through, the ways in which you felt mistreated or abused or unheard, and get those feelings out on paper. And then also allow your current self to soothe the younger version of you, to let the younger version of you know that you're here now, that you're strong, that you can handle this, and that you will always listen to her voice, and that you are ready to protect her and make her feel safe and comfortable. But in general, figure out what were the things that you needed. Another example I just thought of is if you felt like you weren't getting enough attention when you were younger, start giving that attention to yourself. Make the time for you to go out and spend time with yourself. This is what true self care is. Whether that is enjoying a nice meal yourself and really enjoying it, not just wolfing it down in front of a TV. Um, whether that is having that spa day, if that is something that lights you up and makes you feel good. I know people who aren't comfortable going to spas, so if that doesn't make you feel comfortable, don't do that just because someone said that's self-care. But if it makes you feel comfortable and you feel great doing that, then do it. You can give yourself time and attention by listening to your body and taking a nap when you feel tired, you know, eating when you feel hungry. I know this sounds strange, but actually going to the bathroom when you need to go and not trying to hold it is amazing to me, the ways that we figure out how to not pay attention to our own bodies and how to ignore our own selves. Be really cognizant of what you're doing and making sure that you're always paying attention to you and your needs and you're addressing them, that you don't neglect them. Another way that you give yourself what you need is by acting in integrity. I have so many clients who they have dated men and they spot red flags, they discern these red flags, and then they ignore them and continue to stay in relationship with someone and they ultimately get hurt. This is acting out of integrity with yourself. This is not listening to yourself. So, no wonder you feel abandoned and neglected. No wonder you feel like no one cares about you and no one listens to you when you are unwilling to listen to yourself. Feminine intuition is a thing, and feminine discernment is a thing. You should go for it and you should listen to it. So, this is how you truly heal, by not looking for it in other people, by looking for it in yourself, and by taking the time to figure out what it is that you need, figure out where those wounds are, and start finding ways to show that love and care and attention and compassion to yourself.